Hello, everybody. More of this madness. What a day, huh? So, what is Judge Everett about to do? Fire everybody on Donna's team? We're going to have to wait another year? Maybe. Maybe. See, Soap's not happy about this at all. She says, no more lawyers. We want a trial. I'm showing her a picture of Rashbaum. That's who she's barking at. This cameraman annoys me. You know, such an event, this guy. And he makes basic errors. Shaky panning. You know, and what is that shot? Put the seal in the center, for God's sake. He's tried to get all fancy and do a bit of a composition with the flag. Doesn't work. Circles go to the center, especially when they've got a cross through them and a square around them. I mean, what the hell? Debbie Austin, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Spacey Dove. Derek Sherinian. Man, there's about, sorry, Derek, but I think there's about 5 different ways I could think to pronounce your name. I'm usually really good at this game. Let's make an educated guess. Sherinian. Veronica Sawyer, welcome. I hope this stream lasts for a bit longer than the previous two. That one in the middle of the day at 10:30 was 8 minutes. What is that? And this whole deal is so, you just know it has all the hallmarks of some bullshit Adelson scam of the privileged, you know? How to tie the courtroom in knots. 2 days before trial. 2 days before opening statements. Georgia Kappelman has bought a brand new suit for the occasion. She's had it steamed and pressed. And it looks fantastic. Yeah. And I feel so honored that my duvet cover and pillowcases are exactly the same design. It's amazing. Okay, 3 minutes to go, guys. 3 minutes to go. Hey, Soap. Why are you so stressed? You're a menace, Soap. You always have been. A problem dog. A toxic dog. Ah, okay. Like Armenian, so Sherinian. Okay, got it. I see, that's what I thought it was. But I was like 90% certain. Man, I wouldn't mind the wait if this cameraman just put the seal in the center. How annoying. It's probably like some 17-year-old kid. Now I feel bad. What if it's one of George's kids? You're doing a good job, son. No, that would be a conflict of interest, right? I hope he spends more time zooming in on Judge Everett. I want to catch these mid-motion skittle snatches he does. The mid-motion skittle snatcher, Judge Stephen Everett. We know what you're doing, Judge Everett. We have proof, Judge Everett. He's going to try and say it's a strepsil for his scratchy throat, but I don't think so. I want to see a packet. I want to see an empty packet of strepsils, if that's the case. Comes on all strong with an excuse saying, claiming a medical situation. You know he's the kind of guy that eats strepsils as candy if he runs out of Skittles, though. Like that ever happens. Probably gets them delivered in a U-Haul full. 6 U-Hauls arrive for the Skittles delivery directly to Leon County Courthouse so he doesn't catch any shit from his wife. Yep, another full delivery of files. Yep, bring in the boxes, lads. It's a full delivery of files. It's all Skittles. Yeah, coffees. I don't know what would get. Oh, look. Look at that suit.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can be seated. I'm almost scared to speak. Does anyone have anything to raise before we continue forward?
Yes, Judge. May I approach the lectern?
You may.
Why is she wearing Liberace's glasses? Well, thanks so much, Angel Baby.
So, Judge, with the surprise issues of the last couple of days, I have asked for my prior client's waiver again. And with the change of circumstances, he has decided not to give it. So let me be clear. I have a waiver in the past. It's from December 12th, December 13th, and an independent lawyer spoke to him as well, although did not get a signature on the waiver. So we had a waiver. We thought we had a waiver. We didn't think there was an issue. But given the events of the last 2 days, I approached appellate counsel to get a new waiver. Thought that was the right thing to do, obviously, and the cleanest thing to do. And I'm not able to obtain that waiver at this point.
Soap is our resident sound controlist, Frogazan.
So as a result, I need to withdraw from the case.
Very well. Does the state wish to be heard concerning the withdrawal of counsel?
I don't think I have anything appropriate to say on the matter, Judge. Your Honor.
Well, nothing appropriate, meaning she does have something that she will be saying to her friends and colleagues after she's out of official court business, which is, this is a fucking setup, right? Sneaky Dan Rashbaum.
Well
What we
put.
need to do, we would like to proceed, and I'd ask Your Honor to inquire whether we can proceed the second chair representing Ms. Adelson, but obviously we're ready for trial and there's a lot at stake.
Mr. Morris, are you prepared to move through this trial without Mr. Rauschbaum?
Judge, I did enough. I tried to think about all of the different potential rabbit trails, and the short answer is I do not believe that I am going to be able to be adequately prepared to proceed forward with the present calendar, primarily because of the division of labor in the case. I would move to continue for a brief period of time. That's also, in speaking with Mr. Ufferman, which is an issue that I'm going to request that we address, the objection by Mr. Adelson would still pertain to my cross-examination, and by extension, the third party would conduct cross-examination. In short, I need time to regroup.
Before we finish today, I will have the in-camera hearing review concerning whether you have been properly walled off. As to the withdrawal of lead counsel, I am going to permit it. The conflict issues are so severe, I believe, to move forward with the trial. Ms. Kappelman, Ms. Dugan would place us in a position where we would end up in a reversal. Let's go ahead and set a case management date. As to all the expense that has been undertaken with moving witnesses and preparing for trial, the state certainly, as a part of any cost of prosecution, if you are successful, may seek those costs as it relates to today, as this continuance will be
Triple the costs. You know, it's 10 grand to bring Charlie down each way from South Dakota.
charged to the defendant. As to a new date, when would the parties like to have a case management?
I think as soon as possible, Judge. I'm prepared to brainstorm with Ms. Kappelman and Ms. Dugan with the state to be able to get a trial date if we wanted to do that.
Yeah, man. Daniel Rashbaum is out.
So I don't know if we need additional time.
Ms. Dugan advises she has a court date October 15th, so that would be my suggestion.
10:15 at 2:30 will be the follow-up case management to today. Before we go into recess, I am going to conduct the in-camera hearing with Mr. Morris as to any remaining issue of who should conduct the cross-examination of Charles Adelson if called as a witness. If the court reporter can meet me in the jury room, Mr. Morris, please as well.
I don't think we'll have to wait another year, Frogazan. But they're going to have a case management on October 15th at 2:30, which will be midway through Sarah Boone's trial. Yeah, I mean, apparently Mr. Morris isn't confident to proceed with the division of labor. What does that mean? You've got no witnesses. You've got no one to vouch for you. And this probably will affect the amount of public that are going to be present in the courtroom. You know, I certainly know a number of people that had made special travel plans to be down at Tallahassee from all over the place, out of state. You know, I was going to be there myself from Portugal. But now that they've moved the date and created this uncertainty, will people probably think twice about booking time off and accommodation and airfare for the next scheduled date. Donna's got a real poker face on as well. Is she elated? Is she disappointed? We don't know. We hear from her letters that it's what was it that she does not want to delay, but can we trust that? She wants out of jail. If that means waiting a couple of months more, that's the shot she'll take, right? There's no way they're going to arrest Wendi before she testifies in Donna's trial. That is a major witness in this case. And the only thing making her testify is this bullshit about use and derivative use immunity. If she's arrested already, she's not going to testify. Absolutely agree, riding shotgun. Sarah Boone has better counsel than Donna. This is a mess. Daniel Rashbaum always has that line, doesn't he? Make sure I'm not doing any lawyer tricks. All he does is lawyer tricks. His ethics are non-existent. He operates very smugly and he thinks cleverly inside the rules, right? But totally abuses them to his advantage. And some might say that's the job of counsel, but I've seen it done so much better with ethics. There's none of that here. Yeah, this will probably be the last time we see Rashbaum in this case. Donna looks like she's going to cry. She's going to miss Rashbaum so much. Yeah, I'd say total invoice for Rashbaum, including his retainer since 2016, including his representation of Charlie and the preparation, and the same for Donna, I'd say just over 6 million. Maybe that's a little high. It's certainly more than 3 million. I think Charlie's would have been close to 1.5 just for Rashbaum. Donna would be roughly the same, I guess. And then the retainer since 2016. Has he had to do that much? Well, it's a retainer. They're not cheap. Oh yeah, Carla Ray. It's all he cares about is the money and getting a pat on the head from his surrogate mother over here. Yeah, there's no way Wendy's going to be arrested pre-Donna's trial. No way. Why would they do that? Yeah, they've got enough on Wendi, Bruce, but they've had enough on Wendi since 2014, my opinion. And it's just got more and more and more. They want her to testify in Donna's trial. And the only thing making her do that is the fact that she can have this immunity deal. If she's already arrested, what is she immune from? And, from Wendy's perspective, she would still refuse to testify, but testifying in the murder trials for the father of her children plays into her character she wants to portray, right? Doing what she can to bring justice. That's the public reason. She also gets a hell of a kick out of it, of waving it in Georgia's face. What is this, Debbie? You say you knew Charlie would turncoat. What, turn on Donna? I don't think this is turning on Donna. I think this is a discussed, planned, shared effort from Charlie and Donna and their legal teams. You know? This helps Donna a lot more than the state. Look at her. She's really crying now. All that plastic shit in her face is just falling down, isn't it? So weird when people, their expressions just become like bits of clay. That's a good idea, Derek. A best of Rashbaum tribute episode. We'll have to come up with a special goodbye song as well. I don't think so, Amy. I think Charlie's in on this. Yeah, maybe it's not 6, but you know, it was $1.5 million for Charlie's representation. I mean, it's going to be the same for Donna's. So that's 3. And then a retainer for more than 8 years. Well, 8 years. You know, maybe that's another million at least. So 4 to 5 million, I think, is in Rashbaum's pocket out of this one family's deal. And that's what's on the books. I'm sure there's been all kinds of perks and special privileges. Yeah, I agree, Spacey Dove. I think I heard that somewhere, that Rashbaum was representing all their crooked, shady business lawsuits, which they seem to have had a lot of, right? Remember the commercial for the Adelson Institute? At the Adelson Institute, you're treated like family. And then every call between Charlie and Donna about work is like, oh, this stupid patient, you know, they're suing me again. They demanded all their money back. They said I ruined their smile. It's not just one time. It's like multiple calls. They never say a good word about their patients or their clients. At the Adelson Institute, you're treated like family. Maybe those aren't tears, Frogzone. That's the Botox leaking out of her ocular cavities. What a day. And what a bummer. I've been looking forward to this.
Everyone can be seated. The court has concluded its in-camera hearing with formal counsel and remaining counsel, Mr. Morris. Mrs. Adelson, depending if you choose to hire additional counsel or just reset the trial date, you'll certainly be able to work with Mr. Morris as your attorney in making that decision. But the trial is going to be continued from today. The jurors will be released this afternoon. Again, as to the inconvenience and delay that this has caused, I'm not happy, but at the same time, we're trying to get this right so we do not have to do it a second time. I will speak with the parties again when we have the next case management hearing. We are in recess. Yeah, all four. Have they reported yet? Yeah. I can go down and release them again, but
Man, he is not happy. He's like a grizzly bear that's had all of his honey stolen. Who stole my honey? I had a full jar of honey. A gallon of honey is missing from Chambers. Oh. Yeah, he's probably going to need a big jar of honey now. You go back into Chambers in an hour and he'll be sat at his big desk eating it with his hands straight out of the jar. I'm trying to work out what Morris is doing. You know, what is he there to do? He really hasn't recovered from when Everett called him out on tongue licking his asshole. You know, brown nosing Judge Everett. Ah, man. Yeah, what are we gonna do with the rest of our September, guys? Ugh. Well, I guess we've got more time to review the case, right? Here at True Crime Metrix. Okay. Wow, there's a big cloud of dust. It's okay, Soap. It's just joyriders. They're driving with joy. Oh yeah, I think he should. They should absolutely scrap Mr. Morris as well. You know, Daniel Rashbaum is a cancer to the defense, and he's eaten away bit by bit by bit, right? Well, Lego person, there's going to be another case management on October 15th. And I assume at that point, Donna Adelson's team will be able to inform the court what she has elected to do with regard to her representation, whether she's just going to go for Mr. Morris on his own. You know, he'll probably need another 3 months to fucking prepare, because he seems really, like, not good, really unprepared, really bad handle on facts. I mean, not good speaker. Doesn't come across as confident. How long are waivers good for? Well, in this case, I'd say they last as long as the implications of what they represents, which would be... Oh, you mean because they'd had a waiver beforehand in December last year? Well, I guess you can change your mind until it is taken into effect. But Donna's waiver would be lasting as long as her sentence. Well, maybe we should put something else on, guys. Another short one. What could we watch that's in the context? I also want to do an expose on George's fashion style. We're going to be getting photographs of every garment she wears in court. Yeah, what's something that we could watch Adelson case to lift our spirits after this horrific day? I'm trying to think here on my feet. I thought this video might go on for at least an hour or two, maybe. It's another short one. Let's go to the library, folks. Let's go to the library. How about a bit of Christopher DeCoste slamming Wendi Adelson? Is that fun? I know we all get a migraine when Wendi Adelson's on the screen, but if Christopher DeCoste is putting the hot pressure on, right? Amy says yes, so it's a yes. Hey, look who's top of the list. Me. Well, that's cool. Is that because I'm logged into my own account, or has everyone got that? I need to do this video again properly, but we'll have a quick look for now.
February 26th.
Please be seated. We're ready to continue with the testimony.
Frogazon says, Metrix, do you do political commentary? No. I generally avoid getting into politics in this channel, and I'm glad that everyone else does too, for the most part. That's just too much of a hot issue. We're here for justice for Dan Markel. I don't want to get into left wing, right wing. You know, if you ask my own political views, picture the lily.
Ms. Kappelman, you may continue with your direct if necessary.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I'm going to approach you with what I've marked as State's Exhibit 64. Ms. Adelson, did you have an opportunity to review State's 99 of disc
Four.
call for?
I was called to be a witness and I'm testifying.
Four.
No other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Ms. Adelson, this is all about you, isn't it?
Excuse me?
This is all about you, right?
I was called to be a witness and I'm testifying, so I don't understand the question. Is it a question?
There's about 100 people in this courtroom, right?
There are people in the courtroom.
Possibly thousands watching, right?
I have no idea who's watching.
And it's all because of your failed marriage, right?
I disagree with that.
You disagree.
Okay, why do you disagree with that? We're here because your husband, Professor Markel, was murdered, and hasn't she accepted that it was because of her complaining and the bad divorce? She's a fruitcake.
That your ex-husband is dead because of your family.
Yes, I disagree.
These jurors are here for weeks doing their civic duty because of your marriage, right?
No.
Katie's going through this ordeal because of that marriage, right?
No.
Dan Markel's parents are going through absolute misery because of your failed marriage. Isn't that right?
Oh, I don't think the Markels would have really liked that, huh? I mean, I think the Markels have mixed feelings about this cross-examination, because on the one hand, he's representing Katie McBanawire, who was instrumental in the murder plot. But on the other hand, no one gives it to Wendi like Christopher DeCoste. You know, Georgia comes close, but he really lays it on.
No, that's
I think they would have enjoyed that, watching her burn a little bit on the stand here.
incorrect.
Well, let's talk about the marriage. You and Professor Markel, you met when you were in law school. You told that to Miss Kaplan. And it was a whirlwind romance, right? Right?
It was not a whirlwind romance, no.
It led to a wedding, February 26th of 2006. You had a big wedding in Boca Raton, right?
Did we get married on February 26, 2006? Is that the question? Yes,
In Boca Raton.
in Boca Raton, Florida.
And it wasn't a small wedding, it was a big wedding.
There were many people in attendance.
All right, in this marriage, it led to 2 children, right? Your 2 boys.
Lego person. You know what? I never really followed the OJ case. I've seen some clips here and there, but I never really followed it. Never really caught my attention. But we do have a long list of stuff to cover as soon as we get through. I mean, we were expecting to be done with Donna Adelson soon, right? A couple of weeks, maybe. Then Sarah Boone. That all just tied in really nicely, time-wise, which would take us up to the end of October. But now, maybe November is going to be Donna's trial. We can hope. I mean, if it's not November, it's probably not going to be until January. And the second week of January, right? Because they shut down for December pretty much.
Are you asking me if I have 2 boys?
Yes.
Yes.
And Professor Markel, he was a...
But just for everyone's information, 2 big ones that I want to cover and do a lot on are the Michael Dunn case and the Ezra McCandless case. Both have fantastic interrogation videos, and both have full, fantastic courtroom. The full thing is on YouTube. Very good cases. Definitely want to do those. It's going to be interesting to see how far our numbers drop when it's not an Adelson case, but maybe we'll pick it up again. We'll tap into another community.
great father, wasn't he?
He was a very good father, yes.
Those boys were his world, right?
As well as his work, yes.
And they adored him too, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Now, this marriage started to fall apart, right?
It did.
But there were problems from the very beginning, weren't there? Right?
Are you asking me, what is the very beginning? The very beginning of when we got married?
Literally at the wedding.
There were problems before we got married.
All right, so at the wedding, and the government asked you about kosher at law, right?
About what, I'm sorry?
Keeping kosher,
About keeping kosher, yes.
right?
The government
In your
asked.
wedding, at your wedding was the groom's family, the Markel family, and they are more strict than your family and friends about keeping kosher.
They do not keep kosher.
Wasn't that one of the problems in your marriage, that Professor Markel was very insistent about keeping kosher?
About his kosher rules, but those are different than his family's.
So you're saying that it wasn't a problem at the wedding, that there were people from the groom's side of the family that were there that strictly keep kosher, that they were...
Yeah, we'll do Depp as well. We'll do Depp. Her Depp. Man, there's some good content there.
were told that it was going to be kosher food, but it actually wasn't.
So there was a misunderstanding about whether the food was going to be kosher style or more in adherence with kosher law. There was a miscommunication about that.
So you had people that strictly keep kosher eating non-kosher food, which is a big deal.
That actually is not what happened. You had, Danny was upset that it was kosher style and not strictly adhering to kosher law. So he was disappointed.
So there's problems right from the beginning.
That was a problem at our wedding, yeah.
Fast forward now to September 10th, 2012. Professor Markel, he's away on a business trip, right?
Yes.
He's in New York City at New York University, right?
I believe so, yes.
And he's doing a presentation.
I don't know what he was doing.
Your husband at the time was in New York to give a presentation. You knew that, right?
I knew he was in New York. I didn't know if he was attending a conference.
I used to really like Gwyneth Paltrow as an actress. Man, that trial changed it for me. I don't think I could watch her do anything again. She doesn't even act anymore, does she? She makes candles or something. But yeah. I hope it hasn't ruined Hard 8. Everyone should go and watch Hard 8. That is a great Vegas movie, man.
Or giving a presentation, but he was in New York for work.
Now, you had not communicated with him for 2 days.
I really don't remember.
You text him at around 2:30 in the afternoon, right? Right before he's about to do the presentation.
I really don't remember.
But you do remember dropping the bomb on him, don't you? Telling him that you wanted a divorce.
So I did not drop a bomb on him. We'd been in therapy for several months beforehand where I told him several times I wanted a divorce.
You say it's...
Yeah, maybe we'll keep the schedule of watching a trial and just do a different one. And just let all this Adelson stuff sit on the shelf for a second, because it's been a really hard day today. Not only are we not going to see Rashbaum, which I was personally looking forward to because he's such a joke. You know. Do you think that this would have happened if more of their recent motions, the defense motions, were accepted, granted by the court? If they'd have managed to ban Corbett from testifying and what else did they want to do? Ban Donna's emails, or what? I can't remember what their motions were now, but there was a bunch of stuff that got denied, right? If those had been granted, maybe we wouldn't be seeing this, because this is just a tactic for a postponement, a continuance. They couldn't just ask for one. So they've come up with this. And Charlie's in on it, man. Charlie's not sticking it to Donna here. He's supporting Donna.
It's not a bomb, but you agree with me that he begged you to reconsider.
He was very upset and yes, wanted me to reconsider, but
In that phone call, he's begging you to reconsider. Please don't leave. Please don't break up our family, right?
he was very upset, yes.
And he was heartbroken. I mean, upset indicates that there was anger. What he was heartbroken, right?
That I decided to divorce him after telling him I would, yes.
Despite being at NYU for a presentation, he rushes home. He gets on the next flight, right?
I honestly don't remember if he got on the next flight, but he did come home quickly.
2:30, he finds out in New York. By 11 p.m., he's walking in the door to your old house at Trescott Drive, right?
I don't know.
But you do know that when he walks in the house, what he finds. You know that, right?
Yes, I left him the papers.
You left the divorce papers on the bed, right?
Yes,
Half the furniture was gone.
half the furniture was not gone.
A good amount of his stuff was gone.
Nothing of his was gone.
The boys' stuff was gone, right?
Some of the boys' things were gone. I'd taken enough so that I had for the boys, but no,
You were gone,
I was gone, yes.
and so were his boys.
His boys were not gone. He saw them the next day, and they would not have been awake if he's coming home at 11 p.m.
Have I got this wrong? He didn't see them the next day, did he? She was at an unknown location. I don't know if she was at Aqua Ridge or down in Miami. But she just said, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
Let's stay on topic here.
I'd love to stay on topic.
When he walks in the door, the boys are not in the house, right?
Correct.
And you did not tell Professor Markel where you were taking the boys. He may have seen them the next day, but you did not let him know where you were going to be staying with his boys.
With our boys? Yes.
Yeah, we'll come back to doing some Jodi Arias stuff as well. That's very good value. Fantastic trial. One of the biggest. You know, it's going to take a lot to top that, huh? I might watch the cheesy made for TV, shitty Lifetime movie of that tonight. It's so bad that it's good, if you know what I mean. What is it called? I think it's called My Dirty Little Secret. Everyone should watch the Lifetime movie.
So you agree with me that they're also his?
Of course they're his.
And he should be entitled to know where his wife is taking his children.
Absolutely.
That's not all you took, is it?
Excuse me?
You two had a joint checking account at Schwab, right?
We did.
And you went into that account before you dropped the bomb, and you took out half of that account, right?
Correct.
Roughly $350,000.
Half, yes. Of our joint account.
$350,000.
I don't remember the amount, but yes.
You know that it was in the hundreds of thousands.
I really don't remember the amount, sir.
Of course, Colonel Russell Williams riding shotgun. Yeah. Well, I'm amazed that some people still haven't seen that one. God. That's going to be fun. There's no trial, but the interrogation is widely regarded as the best example of classic tactics available in the public domain. And I would have to agree with that. It's a bold statement, but a fairly unimpeachable one as far as I'm concerned. Detective Sergeant Jim Smith just does such an amazing job dealing with a very experienced, the main boss, the colonel of the biggest military base in Canada. I mean, that's someone who should be able to withstand some pressure, right?
Is it that insignificant of a sum to you that you
I'm
don't
not saying it's
remember?
an insignificant sum. I'm saying I can't attest to the amount that was there.
I'm going to tone it down. You were unhappy in the marriage, right?
That's why I got divorced, yes.
And it happens. Marriages fall apart, right?
Yes.
But you complained constantly about it, didn't you?
No, I don't think I complained constantly.
To anyone that would listen.
No, that's not true.
You agree with me that you complained to the one person that would actually do something about it.
I don't understand what you're asking.
Your big brother, Charles Adelson, you complained to him about how bad Professor Markel was and how much you hated him and didn't want to be in a marriage with him.
I definitely talked to my brother about how unhappy I was in my marriage. If that's the question, then yes. Is that the question?
Yes, that is a question. You talked to your brother, Charles Adelson, about how bad your marriage was.
I did, yes.
Let's talk about it. Government asked you about Charles Adelson. He's an intelligent guy, right?
He is smart.
Yeah. He's both book smart and street smart, right?
I would say so.
You would say that he's a talker.
He does like to talk.
He's got the gift of gab, so to speak.
I wouldn't say he's the gift of gab, but he does talk.
He knows what to say in the moment.
Yeah, right, Helvita. With Colonel Russell Williams, there's a lot of pictures of him wearing bikinis, thongs, bras and panties of a range of aged females from very, very young, like 8, up until older. I think not that old, maybe 30s, 40s. But yeah, you definitely, you don't notice much of a bulge, if you know what I'm saying.
I wouldn't say that's true either.
You would say, though, that he is. Now, you were asked questions about, drug purchasing and stuff like that. You'd agree with me that he's also street smart.
I mean, I think he has common sense.
And that he lives life to a certain extent on both sides of the track. During the day, he's doing periodontal work, whatever that is, crowns, root canals, whatever that is. He's doing that during the day. At night, he's out with friends, he's buying drugs. He's living life on both sides of the track.
I don't know about that he's out buying drugs.
Now, let's talk for a second about WhatsApp. And as an aside here for a second, the government asked you the question if you used WhatsApp, right? You remember that?
I remember them asking me, yes.
On the day that Professor Markel was...
For the people that haven't seen it, here's a snapshot of things to come. So this is the colonel, the main boss of the biggest military base in Canada. Trying on a variety. He would break into people's houses like a cat burglar, you know? And he just, people wouldn't be in, and he would try on their stuff and take pictures of himself. And look at his collection, because he took pieces as well. I think the count of items that he had at the point of arrest was 1,700 pieces. And that was after he had to burn piles of them after literally running out of physical space to store them. And here he is with the Queen of England. Look. Wow. Signing an important military document. And there's the two women he killed. That's Marie-France Como and Jessica. I forget her name. I forget her last name. Jessica somebody. Yeah, heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. And he'd be flying this plane around. Okay. We'll get to that case. So that's 3 we've got lined up already. And there's a bunch more, but, you know, I could read the list all day.
I talked to the police.
And you also gave them your phone for them to inspect.
Absolutely.
So the determination of what, if any, WhatsApp was being used, they would have from the download they did that day of your phone.
Sure.
Now, would you be surprised to learn that your brother used WhatsApp?
No.
You would agree with me that WhatsApp, and you explained it well, is end-to-end encryption.
Correct.
Yeah, Amy, it was himself just with a tripod, and you know, he'd break into the house with his equipment, his tripod and his camera on timer.
In your lay opinion, if you can explain to the jurors, just in case they don't know, what that means.
I know that it's something we use at my work because essentially it has the ability to keep things more private. I also know that nothing
Hi there, Yindra. How you doing? Good to see you.
is actually private and that anyone who wants to can uncode the messages. So that's what we tell people at our work.
So the thought is with WhatsApp, if I use my phone and I call somebody, the call could be listened to. If I text somebody, it's recordable, right?
I think so.
But with WhatsApp, you can send messages or have phone calls where there's no record of it.
I don't think that's true. I think there is still a record of it.
But the belief and the thought, I'll withdraw that question. Your lay understanding, though, is that the footprint that it leaves is much less than that of normal communications.
I think it's different, but I think it still leaves a digital footprint that's easily.
I don't know how the lawyers didn't get a good handle on this at the time. It's pretty easy to explain. WhatsApp end-to-end encryption means that unless you have the device of either the sender or the recipient, you ain't getting the messages. They're not stored on a server somewhere. They're not interceptable mid-transmission of the message because there's an encryption. And when I have a contact on the WhatsApp, there's a special encryption key that only me and the person I'm exchanging messages with has, which is used to decode the coded message while it's in transmission. So unless you have that, it's like the key to it, you know, to unlock it. You can't get it mid-transmission. You can't get it from a server. So, but if you have the device, you've got it. Right. So I wonder how many phones Wendi Adelson went through the trouble of completely physically destroying.
Uncodable.
If you were to send a WhatsApp message to Ms. Kappelman, it would show that a message was sent, but it would be hard to get what the content of the message is.
I don't think that's true.
All right. Let's talk about your brother's jokes now. You don't deny that he joked about hiring a hitman.
He did.
You don't deny that he repeated this joke.
He did.
And he made this joke right before a hitman murdered Professor Markel.
I don't know that to be true.
Okay. He made the joke right before, and I'll leave out the hitman part, Professor Markel was killed.
He made the joke the morning that I talked to him.
Can you think of one person in this world that would actually hire two people to go kill Professor Markel other than your family?
Your Honor.
Ms. Adelson, please
I'd
address
love
me and
to.
answer the
It
question.
calls for an unbelievable amount of speculation.
Did you see her stupid face then? Like going to Your Honor saying, "Oh, Your Honor, you need to jump in here. I can't object because I'm testifying." But, you know, I love how Judge Wheeler didn't come to her rescue at all.
Actually hire two people to go kill Professor Markel other than your family?
Your Honor.
Ms. Adelson, please
I'd
address
love
me and
to.
answer the
It
question.
calls for an unbelievable amount of speculation. I mean, I'm responsible for coming up with, that's the prosecutor's duty, no? To figure out who's responsible.
You just said a moment ago that you disagree that hitmen killed Professor Markel. That's what you said, right? So my question to you is, if you're able to say, well, it wasn't hitmen, then who? Tell this jury, who on this planet would have wanted to kill Professor Markel?
I have no idea.
All right, let's get into that a little bit. Then who? Tell this jury, who on this planet would have wanted to kill Professor Markel?
I have no idea.
All right, let's get into that a little bit. But I want to make sure that's clear. This joke is made right before Professor Markel is murdered, right?
The joke was made many times.
It was made right before Professor Markel was murdered. Yes or no?
Yes.
July 18, 2014, you're interviewed and you make a statement saying, I knew this would happen. You said that, right?
I did.
All right. Now I want to talk about your knowledge and your belief on this. You're a smart person, right?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Well, let's go through your resume. You went to Brandeis University, right?
I did.
You graduated magna cum laude.
I did.
If you could explain to the jury what that means.
It means I studied a lot and got good grades.
It means, and to speak, I'm from the Northeast. My Boston accent may give it away. It means you're wicked smart, right?
That's very
You had a
nice.
high
Thank you.
GPA, a very high GPA.
I work hard.
You also went and you got a master's degree from the University of Cambridge.
I did.
You were a Gates Scholar.
I was.
You then go to the University of Miami School of Law, which is a top tier law school, tier 1, right?
Okay.
Right? We're talking about your level of intelligence. You went to the University of Miami Law School, right?
I did, yes.
You also clerked at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, right?
I did.
Now, to get a clerkship out of law school, it's a very difficult thing to do, right?
It's challenging.
You have to have top grades. You have to go through a rigorous selection process, right?
Yes.
You then become a professor at the Florida State University College of Law, right?
Yes.
You're also a published author. Right.
Now you're just embarrassing me.
Let's unpack this a moment, Kosher Style. Kosher Style says, I think the whole court stunt may be a diversion stall tactic to protect Wendi. Wendi, because why? It's all about Wendi. Well, what are the implications of this situation for Wendi, other than the fact that it will delay her date of arrest? You know, that's a very short-sighted. If it's just for that, I mean, that's very short-sighted. You know, what's the longer game? Well, I can't pretend I have an answer for that. I think that it's more focused on Donna's case. This situation with the conflict coming up right after most of their motions got denied. I think all of them got denied, and some of them were partially approved or accepted on conditionally, right? So basically, Dan Rashbaum and co. Mr. Morris, Scalp Rash, proposed some rules that would be set for the game of the trial, the motions in limine. Didn't really get any of them through, and now they can't play the game of trial with the rules that they wanted, so they need to postpone the trial so that they can adapt their strategy. And I think they were totally dependent on Corbett being banned from testifying, and whatever the fuck the rest of the motions were. I'm just blanking on that. What was it? Let's build a list, guys. Yeah, I think this situation with Donna's attorneys is really focused on Donna's and Charlie's helping in full knowledge. This has been explained to him. They're like, listen, we need to run a tactic on the court, and what you need to do, Charlie, is you need to withdraw your waiver and say that you don't waive your right to privileged communications. And he's on board. I don't know if Wendi is involved with this. I don't think so. She's doing her own thing.
Why are you embarrassed that you're a published author?
I don't like talking about myself.
Is it because the book that you wrote discredited Tallahassee and spoke ill of it?
The book did not discredit Tallahassee. It wasn't about Tallahassee.
Let's stay on topic and ask a question again with everything that we just went through. You're a smart woman, right?
I am a smart woman.
There's information about this case everywhere. You'd agree with me on that, right?
I've been advised by my lawyer not to read it.
All right. Now, we're not talking about reading stuff. There's podcasts.
Also not to listen.
TV shows.
Also not to watch.
Articles.
Don't read.
And so you've made the decision. Now, you're a lawyer yourself too, right?
I am.
And you made the decision.
Imagine anybody in this chat that's been following this case for however long you have, and suddenly your lawyer comes to you and said, right, you can't watch any more about the case. No YouTube, no trial, no Tallahassee Democrat, nothing. You can't read any blog posts. You can't listen to a podcast on your way to work. I mean, how awful would that be? I don't think many people would be able to give it up. And she's at the very core of the case. It massively affects her children, her family, herself, and we're to believe that her lawyer says, yeah, don't look at anything, because if you look at anything, it might compromise your whatever, And she just goes, oh, okay, I'll just read the sushi menu.
I'm not going to look at any of this stuff.
Correct.
I don't want to know what happened to the father of my two children.
Not, I don't want to know what happened.
How can you say you love those boys if you don't care who killed the father that they loved?
Of course I care who killed the father that they loved.
Then why won't you look at the stuff?
I've been advised not to.
Are you afraid that when you look at it, you're going to realize that your brother did this?
I am not afraid of that.
Now, of course, you've, and we won't get into privileged communications, but you've spoken to your lawyer about the case.
How are we not getting into privileged communications? Yes, I've spoken to my lawyer about the case.
You're very intelligent. You have one of the top defense attorneys in the country, former federal prosecutor, John Lohr, right there in the blue suit, right?
He is my attorney.
You're telling me with all of this at your disposal, your intelligence, his experience, and all this information, that you don't care to find out who it is that killed Professor Markell?
This is not that I don't care to find out. My job is to take care of those boys, and that is what I do. I don't see how it helps take care of them to go reading and watching and soaking up all of the horrible information that's out there.
You don't realize that you could be helpful in finally untangling this to give this jury the truth about what happened to Professor Markel?
I have been nothing but helpful since this started.
To what happened to their son? By you looking at it, you are at the center of all this, but you won't look at anything to help in the process.
I've done nothing but help in this process.
You came here and testified.
I came here and testified. I
You
spoke to
had
the
to
police
be-
for 6 hours without anyone present. I signed over my cell phone, my car, my house, everything, my computer. What else do I have or know that you haven't seen?
You came here because you were subpoenaed and had no choice,
Correct.
right?
This is not fun. I
You've
would
been-
not do this by choice.
You've been inconvenienced.
I've not been inconvenienced.
Professor Markel was shot in the head.
I'm not complaining about being here. This is my duty. I'm here.
We'll get back to you complaining about being here. Do you honestly expect this jury to believe that you haven't confronted your brother about all of this?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you did confront him?
Yes, I do expect them to believe that I did not confront my brother because I didn't.
Or maybe you don't need to because you know the truth in this case. You already know it. That he went behind your back, right?
Did not happen.
Just like he has done with past boyfriends. He's done that in the past where he's gone behind your back when you were having problems in a relationship and dealt with it himself.
No.
Miss Adelson, you understand that until you expose your brother what he did, that everybody's going to consider you as guilty. You understand that, right?
What is the question that you're asking me?
You understand that until you expose your brother and explain what he did, that he went behind everybody's back, that he hired a hitman to murder your ex-husband, you'll remain guilty in the eyes of the world.
I can't speak to the eyes of the world. I can only know that I have done nothing wrong.
Or maybe you are guilty.
I am not guilty.
So a witness in this case, and I'm not going to get into their testimony, but one of the hitmen, the convicted hitman, implicates you. On July 17, 2014, the day before the murder, the morning before, he says that you were walking on Trescott with the two boys, that you walked down the driveway and into the house.
That never happened.
Right, because Professor Markel, I apologize, Professor Markel, he had the kids. Based on the way that your guy's schedule was, on that day, he would have had the children in the morning, and you're going through such a bad divorce, you wouldn't be at his house, right?
I wouldn't be at his house anyway, but not because we were going through a bad divorce. At that time, things were pretty copacetic.
All right.
Yeah, things were copacetic. Copacetic. You know what's funny about the word copacetic that I had to look up? It's a slang word. It's unknown origin, but New York for kosher. It means kosher, copacetic style. The relationship was a copacetic style. You know, in the same way that kosher is used to say, you know, it's all good. It's kosher. Like not actually talking about the diet. Weird. It's probably my number one most hated word in language now. Copacetic, just because it came out of her mouth.
So we're coming back to maybe you do know, or maybe you were involved.
Excuse me? What's the question that you're asking me?
I'm giving
I
you a head.
just love DeCoste, not just because he's ripping on Wendi, but he's just got such great cadence to his voice. He really carries, you know, Daniel Rashbaum loses me in 3 minutes max, is as far as I can follow along without starting to get distracted by my own thoughts, thinking like, why is this guy acting like this? He's so bad. Mr. Morris, forget it. But Christopher DeCoste has a really good way to carry. You know that the jury is totally engaged with what he's saying, and it's such an important part of being a good lawyer is keeping the jury's interest, right? the more they're listening to you. If you zone out on a lawyer, they are so much further behind because, you know, you've lost their attention. Those are the people that matter. He's an expert. It's not just his thing of Wendi. The only thing that I didn't really like in his closing argument was when he came up with this story, which a lot of lawyers have a story to pull out of their pocket to demonstrate something, right? And his story was about Catherine Magbanua and how the prosecution and the cops made the evidence fit around her. And he said that his father, Christopher DeCoste's father, used to travel a lot for work, and he was out in the Midwest and was driving past this barn, and he saw this barn, and there was this young boy, couldn't be more than 6 years old, with a bow and arrow shooting a target, and every time he hit the bullseye. And Christopher DeCoste's dad had to stop the car, get out, go over to the boy and say, "Hey, how come you're so good at archery?" And the boy said, "Want me to show you?" And he just shot an arrow at the barn, hitting nothing, no target, and then brought out a bucket of paint and painted the circles around the arrow. You know, and this was his big thing in his closing argument. He used it to repeat as he was going through other evidence. He kept saying, "Yeah, the FBI, they just kept painting those circles around Catherine Magbanua, bigger and bigger, brighter and brighter, until all the evidence fit. They just kept painting those circles." That was so obviously something you learn in law school, you know, to make something digestible for the jury, that I kind of didn't like it because, you know, it's just off the shelf lawyer story, you know. But apart from that, he's fantastic.
Better of what we're talking about so that it will ease you in the question. Okay, I'm just telling you what the topic that we're on, so we'll get to a question. Now, the government asked you about a time that you met Miss Magbanua. It was actually spring break of March 2014, right?
I believe so.
You went down to Miami, you stayed with your brother Charles.
I went down to Fort Lauderdale after being in Immokalee and stayed with my brother.
You then went to Miami Beach to Yardbird and had dinner outside with your
It's South Beach, boss. Get it right.
boyfriend at the time, or who you were dating, Jeffrey Lacasse. Catherine Magbanua was there, and your brother Charles Adelson, and you all ate outside, right?
We did.
And that's on Miami Beach, not in Fort Lauderdale.
Correct.
Now, just for context, Jeffrey Lacasse, he was also an FSU professor, not at the law school, but an FSU professor. Nice guy, right?
I don't think so now.
Now, you deny, I'm assuming, that on July 13, 2014,
You deny, I'm assuming, you know, because you deny everything. Oh, nice little dig, Chris.
told Jeffrey Lacasse that Charles looked into hiring a hitman. You deny that, or you admit that?
I deny that.
And that you told him that Charles looked into hiring a hitman.
It's just Yardbird, Amy. One big Yardbird, not multiple Yardbirds. Yeah, chicken and waffles. Have you been there, Yindra? I'll definitely go when I get down to Miami. Why not? Yeah, check it out. Check it out. I also want to know the best place in town for tacos, Yindra. I know you like tacos, so let us know in the comments. Where is the best place in Miami to go for tacos?
Hitman back in September of 2013,
That never happened.
which would have been months before your brother even met Catherine Magbanua.
I don't remember when they met.
Letting you know the topic we're on, we're talking about you being involved. That same week, earlier in the week, you sent an email. We're talking about the week of the murder now, not spring break, the week of the murder, not Yardbird, the week of the murder. You sent an email to Jeffrey Lacasse saying that you wanted to break up, that you needed space, right?
I did.
Sent him a long email, stay away, we're broken up, right?
I did.
You knew that on July 18, 2014.
Yeah, right, Carrie. This is another Dan Rashbaum's puzzle pieces thing. It's like the Christopher DeCoe story with the arrow and the painting the circles of the target, you know, but even worse, the puzzle pieces thing. But that's because he assumes that everyone in Tallahassee is an idiot that can only do a puzzle for the 3 to 6s. It's like four pieces, 6 pieces.
14, Jeffrey Lacoste was leaving town to go on a trip, right?
I knew he was leaving at some point that week. I don't remember when.
You knew that he was leaving on the same day of the murder at the same exact time as the murder.
I don't think I did.
11 a.m. on July 18, 2014.
I don't think I knew when he was leaving town.
Yeah, definitely words I like when I'm looking for a good restaurant, Yindra, is cheap and authentic, for real. Absolutely. So what have we got here? Hollandale. Oh no, that's a place. Okay. Wow, this is a long word here. Chapultepec. Chapultepec. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to check that out online. Chapultepec.
It's a good way to put the blame onto somebody else. You'd agree on that, right? If it happened, it would have been a good way to put the blame on somebody else.
I have no idea when he was going to leave town.
Your interview, July 18, 2014, you said, you know, my brother, he joked about hiring a hitman. Perhaps that was you just planting a seed to divert the attention of law enforcement away from you.
It was not.
Let's jump off topic right now and talk about your boys' names. That in the time after the murder, you changed their last names from Markel to Adelson, right?
A year later, yes.
Why?
I was scared
Of what?
of someone coming to attack them.
So it's a year later, you won't look at anything because you don't want to know what's going on in the case. And the thought is, well, they're going to be protected if they have my last name and not Markel, right?
Yes.
Now, years later, arrests are made. It's clear who committed the murder, Sigfredo Garcia Luis Rivera. The Adelson name has been dragged through the mud. Why haven't you continued to protect your boys and changed the name back?
I will be changing. I'm not going to change the name back. I don't think that will help. One day I'll change all of our names.
Change all of our names to Markel. We are now the Markel Miami family. That'll be weird. Donna Markel, Harvey Markel, Charlie Markel, the Markel Institute of Aesthetic Dentistry and Periodontics. My God, that would be bad taste, huh? But speaking of taste, this food in Chapultepec looks mighty good, Yindra. Mighty good. They got everything there. Tamales, nachos, tacos. Whew. Yeah, I could have a whole plate of those.
The government asked you about immunity, so let's get into that. You explained that as an attorney, you understand that when the government gives a subpoena for somebody to testify, that it conveys immunity, right?
That's my understanding. My knowledge of criminal law dates back to 2003 when I took a semester in law school. So forgive me.
Graduated law school, right?
This isn't my area of law.
When you clerked on the 11th Circuit, it was with Judge Jordan, right?
I did immigration appeals.
Yeah, but you still dealt with criminal stuff as well, too.
Very little.
So your understanding, though, is it doesn't mean they can't arrest you. They just can't use what you say here against you later on. So you're protected.
Correct.
And you needed that to testify, right?
It's just given to testify. It's not a question of whether I needed it. It comes with testifying.
You fear being charged by them. So you need to have that protection of
I
your
don't.
Listen to his tone. He's so good. You fear being charged by them. So you need to have that protection. That's why you got the immunity. Love him.
Just given to testify. It's not a question of whether I needed it. It comes with testifying.
You fear being charged by them. So you need to have that protection of
I
your
don't
words.
fear being charged for a crime I didn't commit. No.
Now, y'all had this nice exchange where it was pleasant, but there's actually tension between you this office, right?
No,
They recently had your brother, Charles Adelson, arrested, and he's in custody, right?
correct,
For first-degree murder.
correct.
And there's no tension?
It's very uncomfortable to be here. It's hard to tell where the tension is coming from.
They've discussed your involvement in this case. They insinuated it on the direct examination. There's no tension?
Lots of media insinuates that I did something I didn't do too. I can't feel tension towards every person in the world.
That's funny. I thought you didn't look at anything.
I don't, that's why.
But you know that you know about the media, but you don't know about the media?
I know about the media because it keeps me from employment. It keeps me from lots of things in my life. I'm aware of what's there, but I don't read the minutia so I can sleep at night.
Ms. Adelson, 5 minutes ago, you said you don't look at any of that stuff.
I
Now I
don't
ask you a
look at
question.
it.
Let me finish.
Sure.
5 minutes ago, you say you don't look at any of that stuff. Now I ask you a question, you say you look at stuff.
That's not actually what I said. I said I'm aware that it exists, but I don't read it. I don't listen to it.
Then how do you know that they're bashing you?
You just told me they are.
I did?
Yeah.
How about this? We'll come back to it. You can think up a better answer, okay?
I'm not thinking up an answer. I'm telling you the truth. I'm sorry if you don't want to listen to it.
Your basic understanding of criminal law, though, you know that if the defense gives you a subpoena, you get no immunity.
Correct.
Correction, improper question.
I'm not going beyond that question.
All right, that's the only question you can ask on that.
If I give you a subpoena, you don't get immunity, right?
Correct.
Let's talk about your parents. The government asked you about your mother and father, Donna and Harvey, right? The government could do the same and subpoena them so that this jury can watch them get questioned, not nicely how Ms. Kappelman questioned you, but to be cross-examined by me.
Objection, improper question.
That's a balls on the scale line, man. But to be cross-examined by me, I love him. Just what a guy, you know.
Question.
I'm going to sustain that. Ask a different question.
Are your parents here in Tallahassee right now?
No.
Are they back in Miami?
Yes.
Do they have any plans of coming here this week or next?
I don't think so.
No. Your family dynamic. It is your mother and father, Harvey and Donna. There's you, you're the youngest, Charles, and then the oldest, Robert. Right?
Correct.
And he's a doctor up in New York.
Correct.
Now, the government asked you about the relationship, and you're like, we don't talk much. It's actually much deeper than that with Robert, isn't it?
We don't talk
At all.
at all.
And the reason is because your parents were so difficult about the woman that is now his wife.
That is not the reason why we don't talk.
I'm not talking about the reason why you don't talk. Let me clarify.
Does anybody know if Charlie and Katie and Lewis are going to be returned immediately to their respective prisons or held in Leon County? It's what, 28 days until the next, it's only 4 weeks until the next case management hearing for Donna's trial. But of course, that's just a case management hearing. So I guess they're going to be returned straight away.
The reason why your parents don't talk to him.
At a huge cost to the taxpayer.
That's not the reason why they don't talk with them.
Are you saying
I love how Judge Everett said, yeah. So we might be, looking for that money back, Donna.
this jury that there wasn't a problem where they outright objected to his marriage of a woman that was not of the Jewish faith?
That was initially what happened. And then there was actually a beautiful reconciliation, and they're very happy about the marriage.
Robert and his wife, not your family.
Robert and his wife and our family were very happy about Robert's marriage.
So what happens is that Robert is in love with a woman. Your parents object. He breaks up with her and then dates a Jewish woman, right?
And then they got married and divorced, and then he got back together with the person he wanted to be married to. Yes.
With his true love.
Yes.
But there was a lot of tension in your family because of your family's involvement in the kids' marriages, right?
Yes.
Let's talk briefly about your children. The government had asked you, and the topic of the Jewish faith, keeping kosher. You mentioned a bat mitzvah at one point in time. You're currently planning a bat mitzvah for your oldest, right?
No, it already happened.
Okay, now that is a very, now, Christopher, I'm obviously not Jewish, but my understanding is that it is a very, very important thing in the Jewish faith.
It's a very important milestone.
And for those that are very conservative in the Jewish.
And remember, guys, that at this point in time, 2022, Katie Magbanowa's retrial, Charlie's just been apprehended and arrested for murder. Previous to this, which, have I got it right? Wendi contacted the Markells and said that they were canceling the bar mitzvah or postponing it, and then had it anyway, where she wore that ridiculous dress.
Jewish faith, those that keep kosher, so to speak, it's even bigger.
Well, that dress might have been the bar mitzvah for the Lincoln. He's the youngest, right?
I don't know that it's more important to one segment of Judaism over another, but it's an important coming of age ceremony.
It's where a boy becomes a man. Did you invite Dan Markell's parents, the kid's grandparents?
I did.
You invited them?
I invited them, yes.
When was the last time they saw face-to-face their grandchildren?
April 20th,
Of this year?
just now.
And you agree with me that it had been years since 2016, since the last time they had seen them?
The visit stopped when they threatened to put my children in foster care, yes. But up until that point, they did have visits.
You got no problem letting them see your brother Charles, right?
I'm sorry?
You have no problem letting them hang out with your brother Charles, who's now sitting in custody for first-degree murder.
Well, they can't see him now, can they?
No, they can't, but I'll ask the questions. For years, they weren't able to see their grandchildren despite their pleading to you to see them, but you let them, let me finish, but you let them hang out with your murdering brother, right?
The children were permitted to see their grandparents. I cooked for them. We had play dates. They had sleepovers. When a letter surfaced that they were trying to have my children placed in foster care, the visits stopped. My brother never threatened to put my children in foster care, and if he had, the visits would have stopped with him too.
You say you love your boys.
I do say I love my children.
Don't care about the father that they love. What
I
happened?
never said that I don't care about the father that they
Then
love.
look at some of the discovery and help figure it out.
Excuse me?
Then look at some of the evidence and help figure it out so that more lives aren't ruined by this.
I seem to not
Mr.
understand.
DeCosta, you need to ask a question now. You're making statements now. You need to ask a question.
Understood, Your Honor. If I could have one brief second to check with co-counsel.
Well, you just put why in front of it. Why don't you look at some of the discovery and help figure out who killed the father that they loved? Yeah, I would not eat anything Wendi cooked. And not just because she's a psycho, but it's probably going to be shit. You know, you have to love something other than yourself to cook, right? You have to love the carrots. You have to love the onion. You have to love the celery. And every slice is done with love or you can't cook.
Ms. Adelson, we started this by saying that this is all about you. It started with you because of this marriage, right?
No. Well, you had tried to say that, but I don't agree.
Ms. Adelson, I'm going to make one final attempt through questions to implore you. You understand that you can't protect your brother Charles, who's going through this case, and protect yourself at the same time. You understand that, right?
I'm here to share the truth with you. I don't know how to answer the question.
Then please end the madness and share the truth. Will you please share the truth with this jury?
I've been sharing the truth since I walked in here. I've done nothing but share the truth.
You know what happened here, despite your claims to the jury that you haven't looked at anything, you haven't discussed with anybody, and you haven't confronted your brother. You know what happened here, right?
I do not know what happened here, and if I did, I would have shared it with the police 8 years ago.
You know that your brother went behind your back, don't you?
I do not.
Like he always does. This is something that he has always done, isn't it?
It is not.
You found out after that your brother had done this and gone behind your back. That's why you were thrown up at that dinner, right?
No, it's not.
You know that it didn't involve Katie either.
Yeah, that's a couple of videos we've got to come on this channel. Metrix comments on the Uvia dinner, and Metrix comments on the ridiculous idea that Wendi wanted to find the body. Coming soon. We're going to have some time. This continuance was just for us.
Right?
I don't know anything about
If you're not going to say all of that and finally give the truth, why don't you just admit to this jury that you're guilty?
because I'm not guilty.
A brief moment. I got nothing further.
Redirect.
So listen, you were asked about the reason why you stopped contact for a period of time between your ex-husband's parents and your children.
Yes.
And you referenced a letter that you characterized as the grandparents threatening to put the children into foster care. Is that an email that was sent from the Markells to my office?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in reference to, in the event that you and the people that care for these children, who at the time were very young, were arrested, that the grandparents wanted to make sure, because they live in Canada, right?
They do.
They wanted to make sure that a specific organization could be contacted to care for the children, so that someone was there to care for them until a relative could get there.
I don't
Right?
remember the bit about a relative getting there.
Okay, well, they weren't just going to leave them in foster care, right?
I don't know.
Okay. But the specific nature of the email, you will agree, was in the event that there's some kind of mass arrest, because they don't know who's getting ready to go to jail next, right? I mean, they're not privy to the investigation any more than you are, right? Law enforcement investigations, they're secret.
Sure.
Okay. And their concern, would you agree the concern ultimately in the email was for the care of the children?
The concern was to make sure the children were under good care, but as their mother, I know they're always under good care with me.
Right, but
And there's no
the
need for foster
email
care.
contemplated you not being available to care for them.
That's not possible.
Because it's not possible for you to get arrested.
Correct. Because I've done nothing wrong and I believe in our justice system.
Okay.
I believe in our justice system. I believe in working my way around the justice system with my advanced legal knowledge. Hey, listen, guys, does anybody know in the chat, why aren't there Freedom of Information Act's Donna Adelson jail calls from when she's in jail? I mean, surely she must be calling people, right? I mean, Charlie Adelson, we got pretty much in real time after his conviction. Is it different if it's trial pending? You know, I'd love to hear some of those. Can't wait till we get some brand new content out. I mean, we still haven't been through everything on this channel. We've still got more to go. But I'm thinking we might do another case. Just open the books, clean the slate, start a brand new case tomorrow or tonight. Who knows?
Well, just wanted to clarify the nature of that. In this case, you were asked about, why aren't your parents coming to testify? You, as you mentioned, gave a police interview in this case, right?
Correct.
And consented to the search of your phone, etc. You gave testimony in this case, right?
Yes.
All right. And your parents did not, correct?
They did not give testimony.
They have not testified. They
They've
have
not been
not given a
asked to
police.
come testify, but they would if they were asked.
Okay. And have they given any police interviews?
They would have, but the police never contacted them.
The police did contact them, didn't they? And they refused.
No,
Are they represented by counsel?
they are represented by counsel.
And they'll come testify if we want them to.
If they are under state subpoena, just like I was, they would come testify.
All right. And do you know what they would testify to?
They would testify to whatever they know.
And do you know what they know?
I have no idea what they know.
Okay. They've never told you.
No,
You've never asked them
no.
because you never had any conversations with them about this murder.
I've been advised by my counsel not to.
All right. So nobody, including your brother Charlie, has admitted or denied to you any involvement in the murder one way or the other.
Correct.
Same with your parents.
Correct.
Carly Gregg, I haven't heard of that one, Ramble, but there's a bunch of cases that I've been waiting to get onto that I know really well. So I think we're going to start with one of those. You know, I just feel like that'll be a better idea as I know them already. But Carly Gregg, I'll write it on the list, on the ever-growing list of stuff we've got to work through, guys. Man, we're going to be here for years, doing this important work for justice.
Correct.
All right. One moment, please, Your Honor.
Okay.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank
You want
you.
to subject to recall?
No, sir. She's free to go about her business.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you. All right, let's put Ms. Rodriguez back on the stand and complete her cross-examination at this point. Mr. DeCosta, you prepared for that?
Actually, Your Honor, we're going to waive cross on Ms. Rodriguez. Counsel and I had some conversations. We figured out another way.
Okay,
Thank
all
you.
right. So we've completed the testimony then of Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Has Ms. Rodriguez been informed of that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Okay, state may call its next witness.
The state calls Officer Bill Brannon.
Bill Brand.
Okay, we'll not move on to Bill Brandon. Sarah Boone on deck. You mean in court, October 7th, is the start of her trial with her new attorney. Has she got another case management before then? Probably. Not sure of the dates though. Yeah, I think we're going to take a break now, guys. What a strange day, huh? Here we all are waiting for Donna Adelson's trial for months and months and months. It comes, it gets a massive wrench thrown in the works. Daniel Rashbaum is out. Mr. Morris is unprepared. George is chomping at the bit, ready to go. Brand new suit for Georgia. Doesn't she look fantastic in that suit? Oh, man. So it's going to be a month, pretty much, until the next case management for Donna. We're not going to have any televised stuff about the case until then. And who knows what happens then? Do I have a prediction? Well, Mr. Morris is declining of moving ahead with trial without Mr. Rashbaum was due to the fact that he didn't feel fully prepared on his own. So a month should be enough for him to get prepared. So is it reasonable to assume that Mr. Morris will come back to that continuance and ask for a significant continuance in order to get prepared? I don't think so, really. Judge Everett's not going to be happy about that. So what would the excuse be if they want to push it back as far as possible? They could have Donna say that she doesn't want Mr. Morris. She needs new counsel. That's pretty much it, really. Otherwise, a trial date would be probably set for the second week of November. You know, so we might still get the Donna Adelson trial within the next 2 months, or even less. Could happen. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to read everyone else's opinions about this around the internet. Yeah, I might do a rare thing and go and watch some other people's channels. Oh, I just don't get the time to, usually. Unfortunately. I know that there's a lot of good stuff being discussed. I bet Fancy Fiction is pulling out her own hair and eyes at this news. Carl Steinbeck's already pulled out all of his hair. You have plans, Neverly. What plans are those? May? I don't think it's going to go back until May. Yeah, attorney on STS is saying May. I mean, do I care, really? I'm not sure about his guests. I mean, some of them are great, like Ryan Fitzpatrick and Yendra Velasquez Mascara. But a lot of the time, I don't know. I generally don't watch his show. Jack Campbell. You want to blame Jack Campbell? Why do you think that, Ramble? Ramble wants to blame Campbell. Ramble wants to blame Campbell. That's the boss, right? That's Georgia's boss. Sitting behind her. Kind of portly guy. Yeah, Georgia's boss. Why is it his fault, in your view? This was a sneaky trick, and Judge Everett knows what's going on. Judge Everett goes, oh, you've done this clever little thing that I could steamroll over, but that's just what you want me to do because then you'll have grounds for appeal? An overturned conviction? Judge Everett's not going to settle for that. He's not happy, and he's not happy because he recognizes that this is a tactic. This is not some surprise, some horrible surprise for the defense who were really looking forward to trial. No, they didn't think that they could win as things stand, and they've gone back to the drawing board, and they've used this to make that happen. They couldn't just ask for it. Oh, I thought the conflict was a brand new thing, Ramble. It wasn't a conflict back in. I'd say the responsibility for this lies on the defense. The defense that already have, kind of a tight line to walk with. Donna's already been made aware. Look, your lawyer represented your son in the same murder case, so that could be a conflict. Do you waive it? Do you waive this? It was already an unusual kind of gray area of responsibility, and the defense should have had this. I'm pretty sure Judge Everett is pissed off at the defense. Yeah, the conflict has existed since Donna hired Rashbaum, but there was a waiver back in December. If anything, the defense should have kept that waiver up to date all the way through. Every month, they asked Charlie again, do you waive this? Are you sure you waive this? Because it's really important. That was their ethical responsibility to the court and to the costs of transporting everybody, the arrangement for the jury. They're fucking around the jury. And it's not just the jury, it's the wider pool of jurors. What is that, 100 people? Not to mention all of the true crime Metrix community who have made travel plans to fly down to Tallahassee to watch the trial, right? I hope they all still go and just meet up somewhere and chat about the case. Maybe bring Judge Everett a nice cake or something as a gift. Yeah, the thing about, I haven't really heard much about this defense theory of Dan Markell owing drug dealers, but good luck with that one. I really don't think that would have gotten very far. There's zero evidence to back anything like that up. That's like a man on the grassy knoll theory. Yeah, I hear you, Ramble. I hear what you're saying. The prosecution could have more closely safeguarded against this. Yes, I believe so. But I do believe that it's not just by chance that this has happened. This is a specific dirty tactic. Maybe George's one mistake was thinking that Daniel Rashbaum had any ethical values whatsoever. What a day, Amy. Yeah, right. I feel completely bewildered by today. Horrible day. Anyway, I think we're going to cut it off there, guys. Will we be back later tonight? Possibly. See how that goes. If we do, it'll be in about 6 hours, I guess. But we'll have to wait and see. Need to think a few things through. God, just definitely need a shower after this day. My God, it's just what a horrible bunch of stuff. So psyched I was to see jury selection, to see the jurors rolling in. We've got number 1 juror. We've got number 2 juror. But it's all gone pear-shaped now. Anyway, we'll get there. It's been 10 years already. Yeah, crazy day. Anyway, hope everybody chills out. Have a piece of cake. Think of Judge Everett when you're eating it and how much he would have liked to share a slice. Okay, guys, we might see you all later. Bye for now.